Ermac is about to split an opponent in two in a way that still kind of makes me wince. Good morning, good evening, whatever time of day it is for you. Welcome to this thing that I do called Thor's Entertainment. I am Thor. This is going to be another Fatal Friday where I look back on videos where I casually went into the Mortal Kombat Kombat League and I tried to pull off a unique finisher like a Brutality or a Fatality with a character in Mortal Kombat 1. This week's video is for the DLC character Ermac, and it is going to be highlighting his brutality separate ways. This finisher has a lot in common with Noob Saibot's old Wishbone Fatality. It also kind of reminds me of a really graphic kill by Art the Clown in Terrifier. Basically, Ermac is about to use his telekinesis to rip somebody in half, starting at their groin and ending at their head. Now, it has been almost a year since this fight took place against this random Scorpion user in the Kombat League, so I'm kind of relying on my notes here. But separate ways should be the brutality of one of Ermac's combos. And it should be the combo where it's 2-1 and then you have to hold down 1 and 3 at the same time while holding down the down button. Hopefully that made sense. But yeah, I randomly got paired up against somebody using Scorpion in the Kombat League. He's going with a Frost cameo. I always go with the Janetcage cameo whenever it comes to Ermac. I just really found myself enjoying the combos I could pull off with her assistance. Whenever it comes to those combos, eventually we will see a few good examples of them, although this is one of those fights that's a really slow starter. And I found myself just either dropping combos early on or not taking advantage of certain opportunities that I had. But eventually it picks up and that goes away. Whenever it comes to my opponent, I did see that they had a not so great record in the Kombat League. They had won one fight and I think lost 14. So they were off to a pretty rough start. Maybe they were new to the game. But whenever it comes to the Kombat League, I don't really get to choose my opponent. We get randomly paired up and this just happened to be who I got. Although I try not to discount people all because they have a losing record, every now and then one of them does surprise me. Like right here in the background, Scorpion won the very first round of our set, so for all I know, he could go on to win the entire thing. Now, does that happen here? Not really, but still. You have to be vigilant regardless of the records. Because in real time, it wasn't like I was able to see the future and know that I would go on to win this set. This person with a losing record won the very first round, and in the second round, things do not go great for a while. While my opponent wasn't necessarily doing anything amazing, he was managing to uppercut his way to about a 400 health point lead. So basically he had half a health bar advantage over me. So the slow start that I was talking about earlier was really putting me in a bad position. And as I am watching it back, I can't help but think that I was just screwing up my inputs at a lot of these times, because I find myself just throwing out random punches and kicks for basically no reason, so I was definitely screwing something up. But eventually everything does start to come together. After a low poke, I do manage to get a combo started finally, and it ends with over 300 damage being dealt to Scorpion. And continuing not to panic, eventually Scorpion tries to go for his flaming charge attack, which is super punishable on block. I get a short combo going, just enough to go into my fatal blow and take the round. And yeah, I was definitely button mashing as hard as I possibly could to get any extra damage I possibly could pull off. And it seems to have worked out pretty well because after the fatal blow, that combo ends with 460 damage. So I erased Scorpion's entire health bar with basically 2 combos. That is a pretty good remedy for a slow start, so hopefully we got some momentum behind us now and we're not going to have to deal with all the screw-ups I was dealing with early on. I mean, it seems like we're trending in the right direction. This third and final round started off with me getting yet another combo over 300 damage. I just now pulled off another one that's over 300 damage. And by the time it is over, because Ermac's combos last forever, we end up actually peaking 400 damage. And with a gigantic life lead, I'm no longer just trying to kill Scorpion, I'm trying to set him up and I am fishing for the brutality that I want. In real time, I couldn't remember quite how much damage the combo was going to do that would end in the brutality. So I was willing to weaken Scorpion a little bit more, but I had to be careful not to do anything too damaging.
Your soul belongs to us.
Brutality. Ermac wins.
And there it is, that is the separate ways brutality for Ermac. And like I said, ouch. That one is just kind of rough to watch. Although not the first time Mortal Kombat has done a brutality or a fatality like that. I already referenced Noob Saibot earlier. His wishbone fatality definitely makes me cringe more, but this one's still pretty rough. And for context, if you have no idea what I'm talking about whenever it comes to the wishbone fatality, I think that one was introduced in Mortal Kombat 9. It was for the character Noob Saibot, and Noob Saibot's gimmick is that he has this little shadow clone that helps him out in battle, and that also comes into play with his fatality. What he would do is he would summon his shadow clone, he and his clone would grab opposite legs of the opponent, and they would begin to pull them apart, splitting them in half from the groin all the way up to their head. Kind of like breaking a wishbone. And something about that fatality is just way more...
Brutality. Ermac wins.
Alright then. Sure, why not? We get a quitality on top of the brutality. I kind of caught on late that my opponent wasn't really fighting me back, and I was going to give them the 30-second courtesy I usually give whenever that happens. I'll just back away and hold the block button for 30 seconds to see if they rejoin the fight. But before I could even give them that courtesy, well, neck snapped, quitality, and here we are. And just when I was starting to get into a rhythm with these fights, and that slow start was over, but oh well, at least it's a win, at least we got the brutality. Thank you to the random opponent, even though you left. Your participation is why I get to talk about this brutality now, so thanks again. But to complete my thought before that quitality just completely derailed my train of thought, I was talking about how Noob Saibot basically has the exact same finisher, but he had it first in a fatality where he used his shadow clone to help rip an opponent in half. And something about that fatality is just way more painful to me. Maybe it's a little bit slower, it might be my imagination, but with Ermac, as painful as it is, it feels like it's over faster. Like I said, that could be in my imagination, but that is certainly my opinion. The wishbone one is definitely worse. But in a good way, of course. It's kind of legendary. Now, I also made reference to something else entirely, talking about a kill that happens in Terrifier, where Art the Clown kind of does something similar, but he incorporates a small handsaw, and yeah, if Noob Saibot's is worse because it's slower, Art the Clown is definitely even worse than that because that one is not over quickly at all. Just damn. Anyway, I got the Separate Ways brutality and it's time to wrap up this video. I will be sure to show that brutality one more time at the very end of this outro, that way we can all enjoy it one final time on this Fatal Friday. And yeah, if you enjoyed this finisher video, feel free to check out the other ones I have on the Thor's Entertainment channel. All of them can be found under the Fatal Friday playlists. At the moment I have 2 of them, one for this year, one for last year. And I do have videos for other games as well. I have videos for playthroughs of the remakes of Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3. And then I have playthroughs of other things as well, like the story modes for Mortal Kombat. I've also played through Crash Bandicoot, Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver. I have a few things on there, so feel free to check those out if you are interested. Regardless though, thank you for checking out this video for this long. Take care, and hopefully I will see you next time.
Brutality. Ermac wins.